SHOT Show 2022. I'm here with Spyderco. We're going to talk to Eric in just a minute, talk about some new stuff. Let's talk knives. All right, folks, SHOT Show 2022. I'm here at Spyderco. I'm talking to Eric. He's going to go over some of the new knives. Been playing with some of these. Some obviously are very recognizable. But Eric's going to tell us what's new and improved, and we're going to go from there.
All right.
What do you got?
Let's just jump into them. I'm going to start with a Sprint. This is called the Urban. Table's moving around a little bit. This is made by Fox out in Italy, but we collaborate with them naturally. So it's in Maniago. This comes with an ivory G10. It's a non-locker. We call them slippets. So they're one-hand open, non-locking folders that have a four-finger choil or a guard, typically. Yeah. So you can close them with one hand and they're safe to use. And then this has a deep pocket wire clip, so our slippets are typically one-hand open carry slip joints. This comes with a Damask steel, RWL 34 mix. One of the things that I love about this piece is the fact that you have this nice sanded crisp spine. Yeah. It doesn't have any gaps. We didn't stain the white. The functionality of it. But really, all in all, it's a very high quality Italian piece. It's legal virtually anywhere.
And it looks beautiful. I gotta tell you, it looks beautiful. Daniel, you need to get on that. That looks just beautiful. It's a very well made piece, and I gotta commend Spyderco. I've got my Mannex and my Para 2, Para 3. I've got a few others skipping my head. Smock. Mm-hmm. I need to get a new one. But anyway, one thing I love is you got your finger choil. So if you, like the Mannex, we'll look at that later, but when you close it, if it's dropped shut or something, your thumb's there, it's going to stop it from closing on your hand. And I love that about man, that's a heavy.
Yeah, that one has a mid stop too, which a lot of slip joint. You know, when you get into the world of slip joints, it's a big world. There are more slip joints made in the world than anything else. I mean, just think about every Victorinox you see. And so it's a big world. How strong is that spring? How secure is it? How's that self-close? How's that action? Does it have a mid-stop? I mean, it's just a big world. And so, the execution of this was great, especially with the etching of the blade and the white G10. Etching can be its own challenge, particularly when you're trying to get the action and everything else. And then with the white, just keeping it clean and sanding and assembling and everything else. And so
that's a beautiful piece, man. You guys did good.
Yeah, so it's just a Sprint. It'll probably go as quickly as it can.
They always do. They always do. What else you got?
The next one is a Stretch XL, the Stretch 2 XL. This one is getting a little bit of popularity, it seems, early on. This has a long history. It goes all the way back to the 80s. Mm-hmm. We made, early on, we only made stainless knives in Japan. And there was a knife called the Hunter. And then we evolved that into a knife called the Pro Venator, which had rubber grips and was for hunting as well. Then we took.
I remember that.
That's pretty old school. You're talking 90s.
Yeah, well.
And then, I think early 90s probably. And then we made the Stretch. So we took the Pro Venator and stretched it out. And then we made a knife called the Straight Spine Stretch. It was just a Sprint in ivory, similar to this.
I don't remember that one.
And then we went to the Stretch 2 XL. And now we're going to the Straight Spine on this, so you have more of that traditional Spyderco that a lot of people are accustomed to.
Yep.
It's a very acute tip, very sharp, double distal taper. This thing, with its blade thickness and the full flat and the shape of it, it's a wonderful slicer. Comes in VG10. And I know I go through a lot of these attributes that Spyderco does, but it has that classic bidirectional texturing you get from Spyderco, that four-way clip, that stamped hourglass clip. It's going to hold secure to the pocket, be in and out with convenience, screw together construction. One of the things I'm excited about for this one is it has no liners inside, and so the taps are inserted into the mold. So for a knife this size to be as light as it is a pleasure. And with the back lock, it's just such a good self-close, good action, strong, easy to use lock. For a big knife of this size, it just brings a lot to the table.
And you nailed it too. How light this thing is. This is a great hunting piece, and I love when you closed it. How you put your finger up there. So I got short, fat hands, so trying to get to the. But again, even if you were to close it here, I mean, your finger's probably going to be in the way, and I love that. I've been playing around with some of the other lockbacks, and I've noticed that myself, and I appreciate that attention to detail on that. Anyway.
Yeah, nearly every
slicing.
backlock you can drop on that dull part.
Yes.
There's one exception that's pretty tight, but for the most part, we try to leave a little bit of a dull spot so you can get it closed with one hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and again, Spyderco, I own quite a few. I love Spyderco. I used to never be able to Spidey flick, and now I can. But anyway,
If you're just going to carry and use a knife, a Spyderco's tough to beat.
oh, they're tough to beat, and like you say, they're slicey, they're dicey, they'll get the job done. For what I use, what most of you are using your knives for, the Spyderco is going to cover it. I'm excited about some others.
Also, VG10 is just
Oh,
I know we
yes.
make a lot of it, and it's a 20-year-old steel, but it's clean. Its cuts are clean. It's good to resharpen. It's just
I'm a little
beautiful
old.
piece.
Okay, maybe, but yeah, no, VG10's a great stick.
Beautiful steel.
People sometimes, oh, it's just VG10. Don't discredit the old stuff. Just because it's been around a long time means it's been perfected and the heat treat and everything else.
It's a great stuff. And I would imagine this knife will come in other flavors.
Oh, I
will probably have a K390 before you know it.
I hope. So. All right, what else?
The next one is a Magna Cut Salt Native. Magna Cut is a new steel that's coming out into the market. I almost put it in its own category. What they've done with chrome, the development of it is in some regards genius, I think.
Yeah, Lauren Thomas did an amazing job.
He did, and Crucible. A lot of the guys in Crucible certainly helped too. And they did a good execution. You know, it's great to come up with something in theory and running out back and making it's another thing. And they certainly executed it well.
And you look at his video when he talks about it, and he talks about Crucible being there, and he's like, why did we make another steel? Because we wanted to. And he's like, I want to make some of the best stuff. So he teamed up with Crucible, which, for those that don't know, is made here in the U.S. That's the only place you can get it, is the Crucible metals. And you see, anyway, yeah.
I think they're going to take it to a new level, too. I mean, Magna Cut's great. We're excited to get it to the market. It's really corrosive resistant.
Yes.
I do say that it's not as corrosive resistant as our H1, and I throw that out there. H1's tough to beat, but that doesn't change the fact that it's incredibly corrosion resistant.
Oh, yeah.
And so we want to make it a salt, at least to launch it. We'll likely have Magna Cuts and other variations.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
But it comes with a yellow handle and black hardware to launch it kind of as a salt. Expecting to have it in the market fairly soon. Already launched our first Magna Cut in the Mule team. And it's been a fun project so far. So hats off to everybody that produced Magna Cut.
Yeah, absolutely, with Crucible and everybody. And again, the salt line. I got a friend who's a boat mechanic. I talk to him all the time. That's what he does. He loves his salt. He's like, I got a couple of salts. That's what he carries. He's a saltwater boat mechanic. So anyway,
what makes a salt is that it still has edge retention. I mean, you can make knives that don't rust. Hell, look at a titanium blade.
Yeah.
It'll cost you a fortune, and it won't stay sharp that long.
It'll hold an edge for one cut.
Right.
Then you're doing something else with it.
And so with this Magna Cut, the edge retention is remarkable in my opinion compared to other things that are in that grade. So.
Absolutely, with this level of corrosive resistance and its edge retention, I think that's
it's a balance. Yeah, it was. It was a beautiful balance. The other one that's above it is the Mannex Lightweight. The only reason I threw it on the table is because we're going to a screw together construction on this, and then we'll be also offering it in a Magna Cut variation as well. I didn't have the yellow version here to show, so we're continuing to develop that line too. And so, with the screw together construction and upgrading some steels and some things, it's going to be a fun piece.
That's going to be a great piece. For all you folks at home, I love my Mannex. It's the S30V. I carry it all the time. It's that one with the pretty anodizing and stuff. I also have the Lightweight, and I love the Lightweight. And this thing here, and having this in a Magna Cut. But again, folks, I want you to look at the screws, because the other ones were riveted. I have a riveted version. If I would have had this, then I wouldn't have needed to buy two knives. But then again, I'm okay buying two knives.
It tends to happen.
Anyway, so that's awesome that you guys are upgrading to the screws. A lot of people are going to love it. It helps on the budget just a smidge.
Yeah, and just to dive into it a little bit further, it still has everything you look for in a Spyderco.
Oh, yeah.
That bidirectional texturing, that great edge, that wire clip that you look for. One of the things I like to mention sometimes with this is the ball lock. So inside this cage is or holder is a little ball bearing. It's a hardened ball bearing. The ball bearing rides right onto a ramp in which engages the lock. And you'll notice there's a little gap in front of there. And that's for the ball to roll forward for wear and tear. In the history of this knife, we haven't worn any out. I mean, they just don't wear out. We've had these in the field well over a decade.
Oh, yeah.
And for the ball to wear out the lock is just unlikely. We just haven't had happen. So for wear and tear and strength, the lock is incredible. For the self-close and action.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, the lock itself is a fun feature.
It's one of my favorite locks. There's, you have some other lock styles out there.
Yeah.
This one here, the ball lock, I love it. We just got the poly locks.
Yeah, those are fun.
Those are such a fidgety. For me, they're weird because I got fat hands, so a little ergonomically a little weird. But is that a ball lock?
It is. It's just a big ball
It's
lock.
just like a big.
Yeah, it doesn't have the
ball
holder.
lock. Yeah, because I'm over there going, this is totally cool.
Yeah,
Anyway,
those are fun too. Dodos, polywogs, those are fun ones.
check out the polywogs, the dodos. Check out those because you can see the giant ball lock and how it works.
And really, it's the same thing in this. It's just reduced into
Just
a
small.
holder.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know much about. I mean, I know how they work and I know what they are. I just didn't know you guys have yet to really wear one out.
And it's a free floating ball, so it's rolling down that ramp. It's rolling down the tang. And having a free floating rolling ball helps too. So it's a fun lock.
Anyway, all right.
The Yojimbo.
Yep.
We work with a man named Michael Janich. Wonderful man to work with. Made some great designs working with him for more than 20 years. He makes a knife called the Yojimbo 2.
Yep.
Always recommend looking into that. So he just went big. This is the Yojimbo. In his world, oftentimes you're dealing with bigger hands. And they're looking for a bigger knife in general.
Yeah.
One of the things that he was able to execute with this too is a considerable amount of edge for the knife. When you went to a bigger size, oftentimes it's bigger in size, but you didn't get that much more edge.
Exactly.
And so he really lifted the size, lifted the edge. Beautiful hollow grind. Mike always loved to pay attention to those thicknesses through here.
Yep.
Because the hollow grind ends here and it reaches out, this gets thin. When you're doing some slicing,
Yep.
there's not much that slices better than that tip.
No, it's fine. Definitely
Fine,
a fine point.
This is Peel Ply S90V. This is a Sprint, so we make it in G10 and S30V. But this one is Peel Ply S90V with a carbon fiber. We really paid attention to the locks, so I tend to mention it when you get to a knife this big. The self closes,
Yep.
the action, the solid lockup, the amount of force that goes on a blade this size, we have to pay attention to. So, hats off to the engineering team for bringing a lock that you can really work with too.
Well, and the Yojimbo is very, very popular. Everybody knows what the Yojimbo is, and everybody loves it. The blade is not my style. However, we have one in our library that I've been carrying, and it's quickly becoming my style.
Yeah,
I say that a lot, and then I start carrying it. I'm like, dang it, I don't want to like this, but I love it.
Yeah, they can be fun.
And this is the Yojimbo. I love the blade.
Yeah.
And the compression lock. I mean, come on. That's another one of my favorites because your fingers aren't in the way. And you just close that baby up. Yeah. I love the compression lock.
Yeah, a lot of people Spidey flip it just like you did too. You get into the Yojimbos and Yojimbos. A lot of people like that technique. So.
I like the Spidey flick, and also it's got a little bit of resistance to it, but it's not. So it's not going to cut your fingers off if you get your fingers in there closing it.
Yeah.
But it's got a nice little smooth action, and of course, you probably can. Yeah, see. I'll say it might get in the road there a little tiny bit, but yeah. That's awesome.
Fun piece.
Next one.
And still staying along the Warncliffe lines, this is the Endella and a Warncliffe. We offer Warncliffe's flavors in a lot of our knives.
Yeah.
So the Endella is a current knife. We're just offering it in the Warncliffe. And I know I've said this in the past, but we're very proud of how that edge is the right edge angle. It's crisp, it's straight, it goes out to the tip like it's supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have good equipment and know what you're doing in order to achieve some of this stuff. And,
Absolutely.
And so, with that full flat and this thickness, this is a slicer. It really is. It's hard to beat this.
And like we were talking about earlier, folks, when it comes to EDC, slicey, dicey, you cannot beat the Spyderco. You just can't. They've done a lot of work in getting you the perfect edge. I love the I love the flat grinds. It just makes them so slick.
I mean,
they hold an edge for days too.
Yeah, and it's very Spyderco. I go through the bi-directional texturing, hourglass clip, 4-way, screw together construction, secure lock. I mean, it really brings, if you're going to carry and use a knife every day, these are tough knives to beat.
Oh, absolutely. All right.
And then the last one, or at least in this row, this is designed by David Weidbaum. He calls his custom pieces the Bill the Butcher. We couldn't use that name for a variety of reasons, so we call it the Stovepipe.
Okay, perfect. The Stovepipe.
So it's a cleaver, but in a lot of ways it's kind of like a Warncliffe too.
Yeah.
You can really reach out and get into that tip. It's a rounded titanium scale. Very proud of the machining on this.
Oh yeah.
You don't see any machine cut marks or anything like that.
Feels great in the hand. Feels excellent in the hand.
It's very symmetrical, great action, good self-close, solid lockup.
Oh yeah.
No interface on this one. We felt that the thick blade and the thicker titanium is a great matchup. Nice over travel stop with the custom pivot.
Yep.
Custom clip. You can really choke up on it this way or this way. Also, when you close it, you could use this as different, scrapes or screws or a different tool. And you can even hook the front almost to Emerson open it a little bit, but it doesn't have a hook. And so I do like to mention that we are aware of it. The designer's aware of it. With a little skill and ability, you can pop these open as you open them. But I think for most people, they'll probably just traditionally open it the old way. So.
Old school. Hey,
old school.
We're okay with old school, right? All right, what do we got over there?
This is starting to go into a little bit more budget-friendly knives. For some people, they are well aware of our Bird brand, but these are some Bird knives. This is the Caracara, the Harrier, the Meadowlark, and the Robin. One of the reasons I show these is just because they have a lot of the attributes you see on something like this. You have that bi-directional texturing, that screw-together construction, that full flat grind, the everything you kind of look for in a Spyderco, a little more cost-friendly knife.
Well, it's the you didn't sacrifice on the quality of the build just because it might be a budget-friendly knife.
Yeah, on some things, like it's HCR 13 MOV and not VG10. There are little nuanced differences.
Absolutely.
But yeah, for what you pay and what you get back, both of these are pretty hard to beat.
I can respect.
And the Bird brand certainly does a good job.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, we still work with a lot of the people that help us with our Bird brand.
Well, perfect.
And yeah, I guess to take it further, this is the Ambitious. We make a line of knives that's the Tenacious, the Resilience, the Ambitious, and Persistence.
Yep.
I've been making those for well over a decade. Certainly have a great reputation. So this is a lightweight version, lighter, a little lighter.
Would it be lighter weight?
It's
pretty light.
But with the G10, it's not a huge difference because we still kept the full liners.
Yeah.
With a lot of our lightweights, we start to nest the liners, or we even lose the liners altogether to really reduce the weight. But on this knife, you still have those full liners, and for some people, they like that. They like the weight, they like the rigidity, they like the strength.
Exactly.
And so if you're going to look for a budget-friendly knife, the Tenacious family is hard to beat. We're starting to offer it in different steels like SCPM, S35VN,
awesome.
Some different variations. And so we're continuing to grow that family of knives. And for people that carry and use knives every day and like to pay and get back what they want for the use, the Tenacious line, along with the Persistence here, is tough to beat.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for seeing us. Thank you for talking with us. Thank you for taking the time. Hopefully we'll see you at Blade.
Yeah, it's a big show, so thanks for coming by. I appreciate it.
Dude, again, thank you. Folks, like, subscribe, leave us a comment about what you like about the Spyderco lineup that's coming, and we'll catch you next time.